What is up, Not So Pro Football Talk? How's it going, guys? This is week 11 for the power rankings. Of course, as we always do, we're going to go right into it with the grading criteria. So it's going to be points scored, offensive efficiency, strength of defensive matchup for offensive grading, and points allowed, defensive efficiency, and strength of offensive matchup for the defensive grading. Now, this week was a lot of good defenses. So I definitely put that into factor there with my defensive grading on these teams. So you will see that put in there as of people moving up and down. But all right, so here at 32, as I alluded in the last video, it's going to stay with the Las Vegas Raiders. They had their bye week this week, so they really couldn't have gotten better, and I didn't really expect any team above them to do worse than what they had done last week. So the Raiders are going to stay here at 32. In this upcoming week, they'll have a chance to move up, but they are facing, in my opinion, a better team in the Miami Dolphins. So I think this one should stay pretty similar next week. Again, I think the Las Vegas Raiders will be at number 32 once more. Alrighty, moving up to number 31, or should I say down to 31. We're going to have the Tennessee Titans. Again, they did not have the best showing this past week. They lost 17-27 to the LA Chargers. Again, moving down to 2-7. I feel like this team is just playing for playoffs, or not playoffs, draft position. So again, how good are the Titans going to be going forward? I think not so good, especially with this week's matchup against the Vikings. The Tennessee Titans right now, as I said, are just a bottom of the barrel team. Sorry, Rave, but that's just how it's going to shake out for the rest of the season. I don't see the Tennessee Titans winning too many more games this season. 30, I'm going to have the New Orleans Saints. I mean, they had a decent win this past week against the Falcons, 20-17. Did not expect that. So I did not pick them to cover or even win this game. But the Atlanta Falcons just blew chunks. I mean, Koo missed 3 field goals, just like Jake Moody did this past week. And that was the story of it. I mean, they lost by 3, could have most likely won this game, and the Saints would have maybe been moving down. But they moved up 1 spot for me from last week. And this week, they have another chance to do that. They're going to go against the Cleveland Browns, who are 2-7 versus them 3-7. So it should be a good game, in my opinion. I do think Jameis Winston, if he plays like he did 2 weeks ago, they will get the dub against the New Orleans Saints. But then again, Derek Carr could have another great game. We'll see about this one. But for now, Saints are at 30. Alrighty, here at number 29, I'm going to have the New York Giants. Again, another pesky loss here, 17-20 against the Carolina Panthers. This was not expected, in my opinion. I thought maybe the New York Giants would play better, and I thought the Carolina Panthers were just going to cover. But it ended up being the New York Giants losing this game. Malik Neighbors, Tyron Tracy played fairly well as rookies, but it's Daniel Jones that's really holding back this roster. Defense is playing as best as they can with the guys that they have, but the offense right now is just lackluster, and that is why the New York Giants are going to continue to lose games. Luckily for them, this week they do have a bye week, so there will be no wins or no losses in week 11 for them, but we'll see if they move up or down. Here at number 28, I'm going to have the Carolina Panthers. At this point in time, I am so happy for Bryce Young. I mean, 2 wins in a row. This is the first time he's done that in his NFL career. Of course, he's won a lot at Bama, but here in Carolina, he has not. So I'm really happy for him. It looks like he's getting a little bit more rhythm with the young guys and Jatavian Sanders and Xavier Legette and a couple other guys out there. But as of right now, this team is basically a running team with Chuba Hubbard. I haven't really seen too much of Jonathan Brooks. So again, I really don't know if they are going to utilize him too much going into the rest of the season. They might just save him for next season, as Chuba's going insane and he just got signed. But this past week, they played fairly well. So I really like them in this position. I think they are going to continue to get better. And next week, it is a bye for them as well. So it's going to be a good time to rest up, get some more film studies so that when they go in and play the Kansas City Chiefs in next week or in 2 weeks for them in week 12, it should be a good game. So hopefully the Carolina Panthers can keep up, as almost everybody has against the Kansas City Chiefs. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe, just maybe, Carolina will be the ones to debunk the Kansas City Chiefs if the Bills haven't this week. Alrighty, here at 27, I'm going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this past game was really weird. Jacksonville came out strong, got a touchdown, I believe, on either their first or second drive. Cannot remember because I totally tuned out of this game after that. Um, but the game ended 7-12 with the Jaguars losing. So really, they couldn't get any more points on the board after that. It was just a lack of a better word, a really bad crippled game by both of these squads. It was probably one of their worst showings, maybe not for the Jaguars, but for the Minnesota Vikings. So again, I really don't know what happened in this game. Really don't even want to go too much further into it. Jacksonville has the Lions next week. I think they're going to lose. So again, it's Jacksonville trying to get a better pick here again. But we'll see what happens the rest of the season. Maybe Jacksonville can get it under control. All right, at number 26, I'm going to have the Dallas Cowboys. Again, they're just imploding, kind of like how the Eagles did last year. Again, these NFC East teams, it's always one of them. And right now, it's not the Eagles, it's the Cowboys. Jerry Jones should be very mad. Dak Prescott should be very mad. CD Lamb should be very mad. Mike Parsons, Mike Parsons is just on his podcast doing random things. Again, I really don't care for him too much. But Cowboys are looking really bad at this point in time. And next week, it doesn't look too good for them either. They're going to go against the Houston Texans, who are pretty deserving of a win right now. The Dallas Cowboys are not. So I think this one's going to be a barn burner. I think I'm going to take Houston with the big spread. I really don't believe in the Cowboys here. At 25, I'm going to have the New York Jets. And this past week they got pummeled just like the Dallas Cowboys did. But we won't talk too much about last week's game because we're going to talk about this week's game where they actually maybe, just maybe, have a chance. Just kidding, guys. Do not bet for the New York Jets on anything unless it's for Garrett Wilson, of course, or maybe Breece Hall. But if you're betting on the New York Giants as a whole, I'm going to stop you right there because Anthony Richardson is coming back. They're playing Indianapolis Colts this week, and I think Anthony Richardson is going to have a good game against the Jets. So the Jets are looking to possibly get a win here, but I think Indianapolis will at least cover and make this game very interesting. But we'll have to wait and see. So as of now, Jets sit at 25, and I think they could possibly be trending down next week. Alrighty, at 24, I'm gonna have the Cleveland Browns here. They had their bye week, so again, sitting at 2-7, going into next week against the New Orleans Saints. I have high hopes for Winston and company there. Hopefully, Cedric Tillman can get some good points for me in fantasy. But right now, the Cleveland Browns are looking like a wishy-washy team. Of course, that's expected with the way that this roster is built, all the injuries that have happened. But Winston is probably the better quarterback there for them going forward. And I think they will get a few more wins under their belt. I think possibly this week could be one of them. So we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully the Browns feel like they have it under control a little bit more after this bye week. And we'll see how they do this week. So catch us next week again. See where the Browns fall. Okay, so at 23, I'm going to have the New England Patriots. Yes, this is a big jump for them from last week, as you can see there in the graphic. 7 whole points up, I guess you can say, rankings higher. Again, it was a good quality win against a team who should be probably winning this game. The Bears just look so horrible. New England beat them 19-3. I really don't know what is happening with the Bears except them being the Bears, I guess. Reed was correct. The Bears are going to Bear. Vikings are going to Viking. So again, it looks like this division will be up to the Packers and Lions. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe the Vikings turn it around. But as of right now, I really like what New England is doing with the young squad that they have. They did kind of send some people away, have some injuries here and there, but Drake May is looking pretty dang solid. So I think that is the positive here for the Patriots. Next week, They're going to face the Los Angeles Rams. I think this is possibly a winnable game with how the Rams played last week. As long as the New England Patriots can get to Matthew Stafford, play some good defense on the boundary, I think they will be fine. So this one should be closer than expected, possibly. It just depends on how New England comes out. At 22, I'm going to have the Chicago Bears. And yes, you might say, Vince, didn't you just talk about the Patriots just whooping on them? Yes, but the Chicago Bears also have a pretty favorable schedule coming up. I do think that they will turn it around, hopefully. I don't think it's going to be this week. So for you guys who are saying that they should be lower than the New England Patriots, they most likely will after this week. Of course, horrible game against the Patriots. Most likely going to have a horrible game there in Lambeau Field, basically. Secondary Lambeau, South Lambeau, as Reed calls it. They're going to be at Soldier Field going against Packers. So writing is on the wall. I think the Packers will win this game. I'd be very, very surprised if the Bears actually play good. I mean, Caleb Williams needs to get something under control. I mean, there's already rumors here and there saying that some veterans on the team don't want him starting. So we have to wait and see with all that drama. Maybe we'll talk about it on Overreaction Monday soon. Here at 21, I'm going to have the Indianapolis Colts. I think they played well this past week. They lost 20-30 against a really good team in Buffalo. So I really can't fault them for losing this game. I think a lot of teams would lose this game as Buffalo is highly ranked for me. But next week, they're going to have the Jets, as I spoke earlier. So I think this is a game that they could maybe win. Of course, Anthony Richardson is going to start, not Joe Flacco. Really love that for them. But against the Jets, it just depends on how quickly Anthony Richardson sets himself up. Because the Jets are looking hungry for a win. They might want to change their luck around and possibly, maybe, out there in La La Land, they want to go for a postseason run. I think the Indianapolis Colts have a better shot at doing that than the New York Giants or the New York Jets. So at this point in time, I'm hoping Indianapolis gets the win here, or at least to cover, because I am not going for the Jets in any spread the rest of the year, no matter how great it looks. I'm just not putting any trust in them. But I will put some trust in Anthony Richardson, and I hope he does well, just like how Bryce Young is doing. I really want these young guys to develop and play better. Here at number 20, I'm going to have my Seattle Seahawks, as they have been trending down in my opinion, but they were on their bye week this past week. I can't really say that there were too many teams below them that played better than what I thought the Seahawks would have played this week. But next week, they're going to have the 49ers. It's going to be a tough game. CMC is back. It looks like Brock Purdy, Kittle, Jennings, Pearsall, a little bit of Debo. They're all playing decently well together, right? And that's what you expect from the San Francisco 49ers. They are winning now. They're doing better than they were in the beginning of the season. And hopefully this bye week gives us enough rest. Even though we just let go of one of our top linebackers, I think Tyrese Knight can come in and play well for him. Again, the Seahawks are going to probably start off slow here, but I'm hoping that we can get it going as we usually do in the second half. Hopefully, maybe a little bit earlier in the second quarter. But again, I hope this bye week was enough. We have a tough matchup, as I've said, and I'm just hoping for the best outcome possible. Here at number 19, I'm going to have the Miami Dolphins. Last week I had them over here sitting at 21. They've moved up 2 spots with the dub over Carolina. I think this was a good win that they needed. Again, sitting at 3-6 now is not the best. I know that the Miami Dolphins would have wanted to be better, but with all the injuries that have happened, everything that's been going against them, basically, it's kind of tough. They're playing decent teams at this point in time. This week might be a better matchup for them to get another dub. They're going to go against the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think this one can possibly turn out in their favor. Again, they just have to come out. Hopefully, this is a game where Waddle and Tyreek Hill resurface, have great games, as well as Achane for those people who need him in fantasy. I hope this is a game where Miami gets comfortable, they get some rhythm going, and boost themselves to the rest of the season. But for now, I have them here at 19, hopefully moving up, because if they don't, I think that's it for the season on them. Okay, so here at 18, I'm gonna have the Los Angeles Rams. They did get the L to Miami, and again, you might say, Vince, didn't you just talk about Miami moving up? Why aren't they above the LA Rams? Well, in my opinion, I think the Rams just had a really, really bad game. For some reason, that offensive line was not playing great. But the upside here is that the Rams defense was looking pretty scary. So again, it wasn't a great game against Miami, but I think this week they'll have a pretty decent shot at getting a dub. Again, they're going against the New England Patriots. I think if they can get pressure on the young rookie and Drake May, I think they could possibly very well win this game. But we'll have to wait and see. Again, it has to have the Rams winning on both sides of the ball, defense and offense, because we know New England's going to bring that defensive mindset. We know that Drake May is trying to have that chip on his shoulder every single game and really show out for his team. So again, New England, in my opinion, is pretty neck and neck with the Rams at this point in time, as of maybe talent besides wide receivers. But we'll have to wait and see. Crazier things have happened. I think the Rams should win this game slightly, but we'll have to see what happens at the end of this week. Here at 17, I'm going to have the Cincinnati Bengals. They had the tough loss against Baltimore this game, this past week in week 10. It is what it is, 34-35. I kind of wish they would have won this game. It would have looked a lot better to see how the playoffs would have shaken out if the Bengals could possibly get back there. But right now, sitting at 4-6, it's looking a little tough. Of course, this week they're going to have the LA Chargers. I think this is a game that they could win, but their defense needs to show up because we know the LA Chargers defense is going to show up, and hopefully they can get some stops against Cincinnati. But this one is probably going to be a good one, in my opinion. This is the Sunday night football game. I feel like a lot of people are going to be watching this one. Hopefully it's a great one, as we've seen the Bengals go off on offense quite often these past few weeks. But the LA Chargers are also playing good defense. So it's going to be a great matchup to see. Hopefully this one goes down to the wire. But for now, Cincinnati is going to be sitting at 17. And there we go. Here at 16, I'm going to have the LA Chargers. So back to back, these teams are going to be facing each other. But last week, they got the easy dub against Tennessee, 27-17. This one was expected. Maybe I think they should have won by a little bit more, and that's why they're sitting at the same ranking at 16 from last week. But it is what it is. They have a tough matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals, like I've been talking about. I think if they can slow them down just enough, I know that Justin Herbert and company can get points on the board like they have been. They've been doing better and better on the offensive side. Defense is holding it down as they have been all season. So it's going to be a great game on Sunday night. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm so glad that we got this one instead of some other games. So should be a good one, guys. Make sure you watch. Okay, so here at 15, I'm going to have the Denver Broncos. I mean, this one is pretty surprising to me. I did not see the Denver Broncos being this good this season, but they're playing well with Bo Nix. So maybe he is their franchise guy, the guy that they've been looking for since Peyton Manning. And maybe he's got his coach. Maybe Sean Payton is the guy for him. Who knows? This past week, again, they lost to Kansas City 14-16 on that miraculous field goal block. It is what it is. I do think the Denver Broncos should have won this game, but you got to play all facets of the game. Special teams is their weakness, and Kansas City played well to that. So this next week, they're going to go against the Atlanta Falcons. I think this is an easier matchup for them. They should get the win, as Atlanta has been kind of a wishy-washy team compared to who they play. They just lost to New Orleans. So Denver, I think, is hungry for a win again. They want to get back in the winning column. They want to go above 500, as they sit at 5-5 right now. So this one should be a good one. I'm going to watch this one as well on the double screen, as I will be watching the Seahawks game at the same time. But I am interested to see how Bo Nix plays. Okay, so here at 14, I'm going to have the Houston Texans. Again, they just had a really tough loss this week. 23-26 against the number one team. They almost upset the Lions, but they just couldn't get it done. They couldn't lock down the win. They let it slip through their fingers by letting the Lions score 16 straight points on them. So really bad on Houston. But this next week should be looking a lot easier for them. They're going to go against the Dallas Cowboys, who are struggling so much with the injury to Dak Prescott, Cooper Rush, Trey Lance. Who's it going to be? I really don't think it makes a difference because Houston should win this game. It is going to be in Dallas, so maybe it's going to be a little bit tougher because of the crowd or anything like that. But I think Houston fans will show up over there in Arlington. Should be a great game. Monday Night Football. So me and Reed will be covering this. Hopefully it is as great as we think it is. But for now, I'm just hoping that Nico Collins pops off. That's all I want. Now we get to number 13 here for the rankings. It's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. They dropped down for me 10 spots after the miraculous loss to New Orleans. Again, it was a divisional game. I did say that last week that it could be spicy, and it was. I mean, Younghoe Koo missing 3 field goals, as I mentioned earlier. It just happens that way. The New Orleans Saints got the easy, nice dub against them. It was tough played, I will say that, but they had a lot of gimmies. Of course, all those missed field goals, a lot of misconnections with the Atlanta Falcons. So that's why I have them trending down right now. Their offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency in this past game was really bad. So that's why New Orleans won. It happens in divisional games. I know that. Next week, they're going to have the Denver Broncos, as I said earlier. I think Denver should beat them. So again, we might see the Atlanta Falcons trending down. It is what it is, but they need to get something going now, and they need to use Bijan now. They need to use Pitts and London now because they need to win this game if they really, really, really want to win this division. So here at lucky number 12, go 12s. It's not my Seahawks, though. It is going to be the other bird team in the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals. Boo. Nah, but all jokes aside here, the Arizona Cardinals are playing well. They are on a 4-game winning streak, guys. That is insane. They got the dub this past week against the Jets by clobbering them 31-6. I really liked it. The only thing that I don't like about this week is not seeing how they would do maybe going 5 weeks in a row with a dub. They're going to have a bye week this week, so I guess you can count that as a dub because they will get rested up, try to get everything locked down and ready as they're trying to take the NFC West for the first time in a while. So we'll see how that shakes out because, again, the 49ers are at their heels, and hopefully, the Seahawks will be right there as well. But we'll have to wait and see. We still do have 8 more weeks of football to go. It's going to be interesting, but the Arizona Cardinals have this bye week. I think it'll be good for them. Here at 11, I'm going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And for me, this past game was a tough one for them. 49ers, again, a great team at this point in time. They're getting CMC back. This is the first game he plays. He made a difference. He attracts a lot of attention, and it seemed like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense was struggling a little bit with that. Again, Jake Moody missed 3 field goals, so that's why this game was so close. But Tampa Bay, they're looking good, especially with all the injuries they have. Hopefully, after this week, which is going to be their bye week, they have Mike Evans back, healthy, ready to go, hopefully 100% as he is an older gentleman or getting up there in age. I will say that. So hopefully he can come back great for fantasy purposes and for the Tampa Bay's purposes. They really need somebody out there to get the ball to, except for Otton and a couple other guys who've been trying to step up. But when you have Mike Evans back, it makes the whole world of a difference. So hopefully Baker Mayfield really bonded with him through this time during the injury, and it looks like they could be coming back pretty strong. So cracking into the top 10 here, I'm going to have the Washington Commanders. This is kind of the first time in a long time since they've been this low. The past 4 weeks, they've been trending up and then back down, little by little. So they're back here at 10, still here in the top 10, in my opinion. They're a team to reckon with. But this past week, they lost the slimmest loss that you can possibly get to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a great game, but Pittsburgh took it away right there at the end. It happens like that. This next week's going to be another tough one against the Philadelphia Eagles. This is basically for the division. Who's going to lead here? Washington is 7-3. Philadelphia is 7-2. This will give the outright kind of victory to see who is going to win this division. Of course, there's a lot of football left, but if Philadelphia wins here, they take sole control over Washington, and that would be quite hard for the Washington Commanders to get back there. I know that their bye week is looming in Week 14, so it looks like they might really, really need to get there as soon as possible. But a win this week could really help them keep that lead locked down. So here at number 9, just talked about them, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're going up against Washington. But first, let me talk about that beatdown they put on the Cowboys, 34-6. This game was crazy. I mean, I watched maybe just some highlights here and there, and it was only of the Philadelphia Eagles. Really nothing going for the Dallas Cowboys. And we got to attribute that to Philadelphia's defense. They really never let up against the Cowboys. It's usually always a good game, but with Dak Prescott out, Cooper Rush, Trey Lance could not get anything going when the times that they were in there. I mean, offensively horrible for them, but Philadelphia looked good. They had a lot of different guys getting in there, scoring points. Defense was making plays. Really like to see it. This is a boost for them going into this next game with the Washington Commanders. I really think Philadelphia could win this game. Do I want Washington to win? Yes, because of Jaden Daniels. Love that story of him possibly taking this division the first year he's here. But I think Philadelphia will win this game. It is going to be in Philly. It's a hard place to play in. Saquon is playing well. Jalen Hurts is playing well. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith can play well. Hopefully they do this week. So this one should be a good one. I'm going to be watching this one tonight. Here at number 8, I'm going to have the Green Bay Packers. Come on, Reed, like go Pack, go, right? But this was their bye week. They moved down one spot for me because there were 7 other teams that I feel would have played better than them. But they're going to have a chance to rebound and maybe move up in the rankings again, possibly try to get back into the top 5 because they should put a beat down on the Bears. The Bears are playing horrible at this point in time. And after the bye week, Green Bay should be playing good as well. So I think this is going to be an easy win for the Packers. I said it when I talked about the Bears. Packers sit at 6-3, should be moving up to 7-3. That's a great record to have, and they should have a playoff spot locked down, hopefully. But again, we'll see how this NFC conference matches up. Now at number 7, the Packers' arch nemesis at this point in time, the Vikings. I wouldn't say the Lions because the Lions, it's not a competition there, in my opinion. But the Vikings are going to be here at number 7. They got the horrendous win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I talked about earlier in this video. Really, 12-7, it was just a barn burner, to be honest. And it wasn't a good barn burner where you come into Jacksonville and play great. It was just one of those where it's like, what happened? What did I just watch? My eyes are bleeding. Vikings played horrible. This is probably the worst game of the entire season. Hawkinson played well, but really, who else played well? I mean, Justin Jefferson, I guess, but the scoreboard shows a lot different. So it looks like they were struggling a lot here, a lot of turnovers, but it happens. You know, one game out of the season, you can give them some grace. I still think the Vikings are a team to mess with here, but this week they'll go ahead and have the Tennessee Titans. Should be a good rebound game, hopefully. I think Jacksonville could have been one of those rebound games where they get some confidence, but it looks like they'll have to wait until this week in Week 11 and do it against Tennessee. I think this should be an easy win for them, hopefully, and hopefully a lot of guys in fantasy go off. Here at number 6, I'm going to have San Francisco. No, they're playing good. Again, like I said, CMC returning, I think, helps him a lot. It helps distribute the ball in that offense there. Brings back a big star, in my opinion, to change the fate of this season for the 49ers. I really think they needed him. Mason did as much as he could. Garendo did as much as they could, but they're no CMC. Maybe if you put them together, possibly. But CMC is just a different animal. I am not looking forward to this week. Seahawks again play the 49ers. We lost last time in our home stadium. Now we go to Levi Stadium and play the 49ers. it's going to be a tough one. Hopefully, it's as good as a game as what happened with Tampa Bay and the 49ers there this past week. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, we can come in there and maybe disrupt a little bit of momentum the 49ers have with CMC back. But we'll have to wait and see. Should be a good one. Now, here at number 5, I'm going to have Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, I'm eating my words. I thought this team was not going to be very good. But Russell Wilson has just been playing good these past 3 games. Again, Justin Fields started it with this team. Russell Wilson is going to finish it. So that's why this team is sitting out here at 7-2. The tandem between those 2 quarterbacks and the roster that the Steelers have built over time, with always focusing on defense, but getting those few players here in offense to make a difference, really helps them. So this past week against Washington, they won 28-7. I think next week should be another dub for them. They're going against Baltimore. I think it's going to be a tight game, but really I think the defense is going to be the difference here. I think I'm going to choose Pittsburgh, but again, my pick could change. It is at the 12 o'clock window, so it will be kind of a game that I'm trying to focus on, maybe on my phone while I watch the Octobox on the TV. But I think this one's going to be one of the best games this week. Baltimore has been going crazy, but so have Pittsburgh. So it should be a great one. I'm really looking forward to this one. See what happens. Okie dokie. Here at number 4, I'm going to have the Buffalo Bills. They're going to stay here for me. They played Indianapolis, won 30-20. It was expected. Maybe they should have won by more points, but I still think the Bills are looking good. Hopefully, they're going to look good this week. They got the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think this is going to be one of their toughest matchups, as it usually is, either during a season or during the playoffs. So now they get a taste of them during the season this year, and I think it should be a good one. So hopefully, in my opinion, Buffalo wins here. I think it's time to really put a 1 after that dash for Kansas City. But we'll have to wait and see. Kansas City always keeps their opponents in the game with them and beats them at the end. So again, this might be another instance of that. But I think Buffalo Bills have the best opportunity to do that and bust the Kansas City's perfect season. But we'll have to wait and see. Josh Allen and company really have to play their best game in order to do that. Here at number 3, I'm going to have the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're playing miraculously right now. Of course, not better than the top 2 teams that I'll get to later. But Baltimore played well this week. Again, toppling their rival in the Bengals 35-34, moving to 7-3. It was a great one in my opinion. Really looking forward to the next one with the next tough matchup against the Steelers. But right now, Baltimore looks good on both sides of the ball. Defensively, it could possibly get better, but they have great pursuit. They're getting to the ball quickly. They make stops when they need to. And hopefully against Pittsburgh, who doesn't have a lot better of an offense than the Bengals, maybe they'll stop them quite a bit too. Again, I think it's going to be a close game, divisional rivalry. And really, this is for the division as well. As Pittsburgh sits at 7-2, Baltimore sits at 7-3. This one will determine who kind of locks in there at the number 1 spot until these teams match up again. Now, here at number 2, this is what we've all been waiting for. Vince, did you finally move down the lines? Vince, did the Chiefs move up to number 1? Well, sorry, guys, they didn't. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at number 2. Again, this past win against Denver was just not as convincing as it needed to be. The offensive efficiency there for the Chiefs was not very good. Defensively, yeah, it was. Again, that defense has been playing pretty well the past few weeks, and I really attributed that to today's rankings. But in my opinion, I just really can't see it in my heart to put Kansas City up there when I feel like the comeback from the Lions was better. Again, field goal block was insane. It was great. Coaching staff is probably number 1 in the league. Yes, I will say that. But right now, the Kansas City Chiefs and their roster and how they've been playing are not number 1 in the league. The only reason I really have them at number 2 based on their record. Not really so much their offensive efficiency or the defensive efficiency, because really it's middle of the pack when you look at it. But For the sake of having the Kansas City Chiefs at 9-0 this year, I have to give them their due diligence, and I think they're the number 2 team at this point in time. So let's get into number 1 here with the Detroit Lions. Shocker, shocker here. They're at 8-1, not 9-0 like Kansas City, but like I said, every team has a game where they don't play their best, and Detroit had that a long time ago. I feel like Kansas City's game is coming up, but we'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be this game? Is it going to be next game? Is it going to be some games later down the road? But for right now, Detroit is my number 1 team. They did not have the best game this week against Houston, only winning 26-23, but they showed some resilience, scored 16 points unanswered against Houston. It should have been an easier game, in my opinion, for them, but I guess they saved it for this game, as they should put maybe another 40-50 bomb on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one should be a good one, in my opinion, for fantasy. Not a good one to watch unless you're a Detroit Lions fan, but I'm going to keep that my number 1, guys. Blast me in the comments if you want to. But when you look at the stats, when you look at the efficiency of each team, I feel like Detroit, even though they had their worst game probably this year, besides the game that they lost earlier in the year, I think their efficiency was still better than the Kansas City Chiefs. So really, that's what it boils down to for me. I do think that Detroit is the better team at this point in time, and that's just me. So put it down in the comments if you think differently. Roast me as much as you want to. But as you do that, make sure you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as well as join our Discord if you haven't already. Just talk football with us. Bash me in our Discord so I can see it constantly from multiple people. But really, guys, we're just trying to grow our community, and we thank you for all the comments, everything that you put out here. We really appreciate everything. So again, if you like these videos, leave it down in a comment what you like and what you dislike so I can improve as we go along through the season. How is your team doing? Batch me on my team in the Seahawks. I mean, it is what it is. Again, as we say, we just want to interact with you guys. We just want to have fun. This is a fun channel, so join in. But other than that, guys, that's going to be my power rankings for week 11. And as we always say, keep on grinding.